All right, so we got this big box. We're gonna open this thing up, and I'm kind of excited to see if this works, because it didn't really cost that much. It was $100 and then $60 shipping, so I paid $160 for it. And if it works out, it'll be really cool. Pull that out.
What is this?
Whoa! Whoa! Pull that side. Whoa! All right, guys. So this is a Silverado Duramax intercooler. So I got this used on eBay. Looks like that tab might be bent.
Yeah.
But, so this is the intercooler. This is a big boy right here. So yeah, kind of got this idea from Mr. Happel with that white Silverado that he had a Duramax intercooler in it, and the previous owner put one in there. So the Chevys, like the GMCs, Silverados, Escalades, Tahoes, all that stuff seems like it has the same front end. So I'm gonna double check and verify that and see if this thing fits, and it might just bolt right in there, and then we'll have a huge intercooler for 160 bucks. All right, gentlemen, so I'm actually in the process of editing this video right now. I didn't add much more after I opened the intercooler up. I did check it and make sure. I think it's going to fit really good. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Duramax radiator on there also, because the radiator mounts, in the Duramax, the radiator mounts to the intercooler, and then the intercooler bolts in the position that the Escalade radiator is in right now. So I'm going to try to track down a Duramax intercooler. If any of you like junkyard guys are out there, I know a lot of you guys mentioned that to me, that you guys work at junkyards and stuff. If you know one and know where I can get one relatively cheap, let me know. I did find a couple that are being parted out around here, so let me know. I want to make that thing work. It should work pretty good, I think, because you'll see at the end of this video we definitely need some cooling. All right, so I got Dadilac back in the garage, and I'm going to pull the gas tank out again. So I'll insert a video here. I think I have a video here. I think I'm actually sucking the basket dry. So we talked about that a little bit in the last video, and there were some comments about it. I did drill like a big hole in the bottom of it. Thought it would be enough because it was a 5/8 inch hole, and I'm starting to think that it wasn't enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the tank, pull the basket out again, and either cut the whole bottom out of it, or I'm going to drill a bunch of bigger holes all the way around the basket to let the fuel in. So basically what I'm seeing is, once I got to about a half a tank, Derek from DG's garage, he said he had the same issue, didn't modify the basket at all, but once he got down to about a half a tank, started to go lean and have some issues and suck the basket dry. I thought my hole that I drilled in it was going to be enough, like I was thinking ahead, but the 5/8 hole wasn't enough, apparently, as that's what I'm thinking. So my symptoms that I'm seeing is, once I started to get to about a half a tank, I was out driving it and doing some tuning, and then the wideband became unreliable. So I also was fighting sensors going bad, so I did have 2 sensors go bad, and I also had this issue at the same time. So I thought I had a 3rd sensor go bad because it was reading lean just like the other ones were. But then I noticed if I would shut it off for a little bit and then turn it back on, then it would read fine. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the tank out and then drill the basket, or cut the basket. So what I'm doing now is I'm running the fuel out of the tank, because I got about a half a tank in it. But I started to notice, which I didn't hear anything before, and I feel like this is a good way to kind of verify that it's sucking the basket dry. So I got you underneath the gas tank, and you'll listen, I'll run it for a little bit, and then it'll completely change the sound that it's making. So I'm pretty sure it's sucking the basket dry. So right when it gets to that point, you can hear it change the sound. So now I'll let it sit for a little bit, and then I'll run it again, and it'll do the same thing. It'll sound good, and then it'll go loud. So obviously it didn't do that with the stock setup. It didn't make that noise. I was able to run it out completely like this without any sound change. So I'm just going to keep emptying it out. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening because it'll start good, and then as I'm driving it, it'll just slowly start to go leaner and leaner and leaner, and then it'll eventually stay off the gauge. All right, so didn't get the tank out yet, but I did see a problem. As I was emptying it out, I noticed my fuel gauge didn't go much below a half, even though I got 7 gallons out of it. And I'm pretty sure it's empty because I can't even get it to start right now. But it's still showing almost a half a tank. So I got about 6 or 7 gallons out of it. So it was about a third of a tank, but still showing a half. So that would have been a problem either way if I'm driving around and I think I have half a tank of fuel left. So the float's probably stuck or something. Got to pull it out anyways. So good finding. Got the tank out and I'd noticed something. But that yellow thing down on the right side is actually the float. So I put the basket in backwards. So the 2 pegs come down for the springs. I actually put the bottom of the basket on 180 from the way that it should be. So the float is over here and it's hitting this part of the tank, and it should be over here where it can actually float. So I didn't put it together right. Yeah, there you go, there's a little better shot. So tank lines come forward and float was over here. That would make sense why it only got to about half a tank and wouldn't come down anymore. So the bottom actually has to be rotated. So the float's over on this side. So I can just basically pull this apart and then I'll just twist it around. But that should help. And then I'll poke some holes in the bottom of this basket quick and it should be fine. All right, so this is what we got right now. I just cut a big hole in the bottom of it. This hole right here is the original hole that I had. So now I cut that hole and then just kind of took this big chunk out of the side of it. So that should be more than enough now, but I did want to test the theory of the 5/8 inch hole. I could have just did this right away, but I wanted to see if it would work. So it didn't work, and now we're here. All right, so got the fuel tank back in. I also threw the boost controller on it. I just kind of bolted it down to this bolt here. So it's secure in there pretty tight, and then I still have some adjustment. So let's go drive it and turn the boost up. All right, guys, well, I was gonna try to make an exciting video for you, but I'm really struggling here. So everything seems to be working good, except I'm like running out of fuel really early. So I don't know what the deal is. It starts to go lean, like 13.0 and maxed out on duty cycle at like 9 pounds. So, and I'm trying to work with my boost controller, but it's pretty sensitive. And so I got it to like 15 pounds a couple times, but it was way lean. And I'm trying to find that balance between like 4 pounds and 8 pounds. So, and even then, I don't even think I'm going to be able to get much out of it. I'm at this spot on the log, 108% duty cycle at 5,000 RPM. With like a 12.5 air fuel. 52% throttle though, so I'm like just rolling into it and it's already running out of fuel. It feels pretty good though at 5,000, but that's and second gear. So I don't really know. We'll keep playing with it a little bit, and if not, maybe we'll just leave it on like 5 pounds. I don't know. So lean up top. I was able to rev it out to 5,500, but it went to like a 13.5. So I pulled 5 degrees of timing out of it, but it's still not very good. I don't know. I mean, the boost level's leveling off now. 150 kPa, so it's making 7 pounds, where before it was making 4. So I think that's about my limit. Okay, I pulled 3 degrees out of it. Yeah, it's still more timing than I was commanding though. I was commanding 10 and it was giving me 13 at 5,000 RPM, but 112% duty cycle. So I guess as long as I stay below 5,000 RPM, it'll be fine. Yeah, it's just running away with fuel. So I guess maybe we'll just leave it there, 7 pounds for a little bit until we change some other stuff. It's also at 180 degree intake temp too. So if it was colder air, it would be leaner than that even. And my oil pressure gauge stopped working. It's pegged at 80% right now. 105% it's reading on the thing. So, all right, I think we'll go hit it one more time. Try not to melt her down, but gotta get that content, bro. And it's been doing that now. When I hit the brakes, it fucking dies. Sloshing, fuel sloshing. I wonder if it's sloshing out of the basket now. I should do an experiment. I should go put some fuel in it because I'm getting kind of low. Should put some fuel in it and see if it still reads the same. Let's go do that. It's enough to bring home the groceries. I bet would fix all my problems. 3 Walbro 450s, a 12 AN feed, some Snake Eater 1500s, and a Terminator X Max. That would probably fix it. Sitting as high as 8 pounds on the second gear pull, but it is topping out 100% duty cycle and it's starting to go lean to like a 13 air fuel at about 4,600 RPM. So that's about all I got. So 8 pounds, 13 degrees. What does that come out to for power, you think, on a 78, 75? 8 pounds, 13 degrees. It's got to be at least 280. So it's a little later in the day. Went home and helped the kids with some homework and stuff, and then I'm gonna go back out and we got Draggies. So Hunter and I got Draggies, and he's out with his ripping right now. He just took his Duramax out, so I'm gonna go play too. So I just downloaded the app like a few minutes ago, so I don't even know how to use it yet, but we're gonna figure it out and see if we can run a 7 in the 60 foot. Oh boy. Okay. I want to tell you how excited I was to go use the Draggy. I didn't even bring it with me. So I downloaded the app and I was like so excited. I just grabbed my computer and left the house, and I went to go connect it, and I realized I don't even have the thing. So I'm gonna go back and get it quick. shift points a little bit, try to get it to shift a little bit earlier. It doesn't like the RPM. It goes pretty lean up top. So I might, once I run this tank down a little bit more, I might actually try to fill like a half a tank with 93 or something to try to get a little bit more of my injector back, so I can actually wind it out. But wind her out. All right, let's see what we got. See what we got. It's gonna be so fast. This thing actually foot brakes really well, though. I'd like to see what it does with a cam. Shut up. Full pull, boys. The shift point really helped, though. It didn't really even buck that much. 10-second 1/8 mile. 15-second 1/4 mile. Is that right? Got her to run a 10, boys, in the 1/8. Such an animal. That's shifting at 5,200 down to 3,300. She's a slow boy. Gotta get the fuel figured out. Should be decent. Like, it feels like it spools good. Once it gets up to like 4,000 or 5,000 RPM, it feels like it does really well. But then it shifts and it just bogs like crazy, and it doesn't want to move at all. But 216 degree intake temps. Yeah, I should just stop. Maybe we'll do some more upgrades earlier, sooner than later. Sooner than later. So we can actually make it relevant. We'll consider it baseline.